Somebody climbed a ladder tonight and hung an £8 million painting over a dead body. Julian Harlowe, dead at the foot of his own grand staircase, the man who held every key to this rotting mortgaged mansion. And the masterpiece above him is worth more than the whole house. This is you, standing over him, Nora, the sister who cannot afford the heating bill, let alone £8 million of art. In 3 days, a man in white cotton gloves will kneel exactly where you are standing and tell you this was no accident. But first, who killed Julian Harlowe 72 hours earlier? This is also you, before the body, Nora Harlowe, 34, the middle child, a sculptor with clay under your nails and an overdraft under that. 3 days ago, a solicitor read a will, and you inherited a third of Thornfield, 40 rooms, a name people used to fear, and a debt quietly eating all of it. Congratulations. You're rich, the way a shipwreck is full of treasure. Thornfield, beautiful and mortgaged down to the beams. Your father spent his last 10 years selling the good silver to pay the heating bill. What he left behind is a gorgeous corpse of a house. But there was one thing nobody ever valued, a grimy black painting in the study, so caked in soot you couldn't tell if it was a shipwreck or a saint. For 40 years it hung over the fireplace, and nobody looked at it twice. Then your brother hires a restorer, Vaughan Ellery. He takes the filthy canvas away to his own workroom to clean it, and 3 days later he carries it back, glowing. Under the soot, he says, was a masterpiece, a lost one, the kind museums whisper about. £8 million, more than the house, more than the debt. As he turns it to fix the wire, you catch something, a row of bright little staples along the back, and a sharp chemical smell like a wall that's just been painted. Your eye slides right past it. So does everyone's. So the family gathers. A small dinner, the night the painting goes up over the grand staircase, where the whole world can see what the Harlowes still own. At the head of the table sits your father's chair, empty, the way it's been for a month, the way grand old chairs go empty in houses like this. Before this night is over, there will be another empty chair. 5 people slept under Thornfield's roof that night. One of them is a killer. Start with the man who runs it all, Julian, the eldest. 48, executor of the estate, the brother with the keys. Literally, a ring of them jangling on his belt. Nobody in this family sees a penny until Julian signs for it, and Julian likes to take his time. Tonight, at the head of a nervous table, he decides everything. It's the last night he decides anything, and Julian is careful. Over the soup, he taps his glass and makes an announcement. Before we sell a single thing, he says, "I've booked an independent man. Ashcombe. He'll value the painting himself. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning." Reasonable, prudent, exactly what a good executor does. Across the table, Vaughan Ellery's warm smile stops moving, just for a second. Remember that? Now, the suspects. Suspect 1 is you. The police always start with whoever found the body, and that's the sister with clay on her hands and debts of her own. Hold that thought. Suspect 2, Dex, the youngest. All charm, no cash, the brother who lights up a room and empties your wallet doing it. What Dex hasn't told the table is that he owes £200,000 to the kind of men who don't send letters. He needs his inheritance now, tonight, yesterday. And all through dinner, his eyes keep drifting to the silver on the shelves. Suspect 3, Margot, Julian's wife, immaculate, glacial, married into this family and never quite of it. She barely looks at her husband all night. And late in the evening, after the plates are cleared, a telephone rings somewhere in the house, and Margot folds her napkin, murmurs an apology, and slips out of the room. She's gone a long time. Nobody thinks to ask who called. Suspect 4, Ada Finch, Housekeeper, 30 years. Always in the doorway, never in the room, the kind of servant who becomes part of the furniture and hears everything the furniture hears. Ada knows where every object in Thornfield lives, every candlestick, every snuff box, every spoon. She also knows quietly where a few of them have gone over the years. We'll get to that. The fifth face at the table, Vaughan, the restorer. Warm, funny, clever, the outsider who found gold in your father's suit. His fee is 10%, £800,000, he reminds you cheerfully, but only if the painting actually sells. Which means Vaughan, of everyone here, most needs that sale to go through. So you file him away as the one person in this house who is completely on your side. Then, the fight. You and Julian alone in the study, and it goes wrong fast. He says Mother's ring is missing from her jewel case, and he looks straight at you when he says it. You feel your face go hot. You say something cruel, something about who really ran this family into the ground, and you storm out into the dark corridor. That is the last time you will ever see your brother alive. Here is the story Vaughan will swear to. Late that night, at the top of the stairs, he sets his ladder and drills a new steel hook into the wall to take the weight of the heavy frame. Pale plaster dust drifts down the steps, soft as snow. Julian steadies the ladder from below, keys jingling. Vaughan finishes at 10:15, he'll say, and leaves. Julian alive. Everyone else has scattered into the dark rooms of Thornfield. To bed, to the telephone, to the silver. You're the only witness left, and you're not watching. Remember, this is his story, not yet the truth. 11 o'clock. You hear it from your room, a sound you'll spend the rest of your life failing to name. A soft, heavy sound, and then nothing at all. You come out onto the landing, and there is Julian at the foot of the staircase. And above him, the painting hangs perfectly, terribly, straight, not a crooked inch. The quiet little inheritance you'd been dreaming of just became a death. The estate still has to be valued. A dead man's things don't count themselves. So a firm in London sends the one appraiser who takes the houses nobody else will touch, Silas Roe. He arrives in the rain, rumpled tweed, white cotton gloves, a jeweller's loop on a chain. He doesn't read the family, he reads the house. Objects don't lie, he tells you, even when heirs do. As Silas opens a drawer in the study, his gloved hand closes around a small silver thimble, and without quite seeming to notice, slips it into his waistcoat pocket. He does this in every dead man's house. One small worthless thing, a thimble, a chess pawn, a brass tack. He'll tell you it's a harmless habit. Remember it anyway. Police have a tidy story. A man with a drink in him, up a ladder late at night, fussing with a heavy frame. He overreaches, he falls, he breaks. An accident. Case closed. Silas nods along politely and frowns at exactly one thing: the ladder. It's folded flat, leaning against the wall, tucked neatly away. You don't fold up a ladder after you've fallen off it. So it wasn't a fall. It was a push. And the net swings first onto Dex. A footman saw him at the top of the staircase seconds before the sound, leaning over the banister, right where a man would stand to send his brother down. Dex, who's drowning in debt. Dex, who needed money tonight. It looks exactly like a push. But Silas clears him, not with a hunch, with arithmetic. A murdered executor, he says, freezes this estate in probate. A year, maybe more. Nobody inherits a penny. Dex needed Julian alive, and signing, or his creditors reached the money first. Killing his brother would sign Dex's own death warrant. So what was he doing at the stairhead? Reaching for a little silver box to slip in his pocket and pawn by morning. A thief, not a killer. The net swings to Margot, the cold wife, the widow who surely inherits. Except she does not. Silas finds the telephone log, a single call, the night of the death, 45 minutes long, running straight across 11 o'clock. To the man she was leaving Julian for. Margot was not murdering her husband. She was in the West Wing, the receiver pressed to her ear, whispering to her lover. At the exact minute someone pushed Julian down the stairs. And a prenuptial agreement leaves her almost nothing when she walks out. No reason to want him dead, and no way to hold a telephone in one room and push a man down the stairs in another. Cleared. Then the net swings to you. Yes. You. Don't look so surprised. The screaming fight, the missing ring, the sister with clay under her nails and a secret in the pawn shop. You look guilty from every angle. Silas lays a slip of paper on the table without a word, a pawn ticket. Mother's ring, pledged for cash 3 days before Julian died. Your secret is ugly and small. Shame, not murder. And whoever drilled that hook wore the plaster for it, pale dust on the cuffs, in the hair. Silas looks at your hands. Clay. And not one speck of plaster. You're cleared too. Which leaves the housekeeper, Ada, and that secret we promised to get to. Silas finds it in a locked drawer in her pantry, 30 years of tiny pocketed things. A thimble, a snuff box, a single silver spoon at a time. Not a fortune, just a poor woman quietly taking what a rich family would never miss. Ada wanted that painting sold and the debts cleared and her wages safe. She needed Julian alive to sign for it, same as everyone. And at 11 o'clock, she was 3 floors down, in a stone pantry with a swept, dustless floor. No plaster reached her either. Cleared. So who isn't? Silas kneels where Julian fell. Gently, he brushes a film of pale dust from the dead man's collar and says nothing at all. Then he stands, leans close to the famous painting, and breathes it in, like a wine. 300 years old, he murmurs. Smells like last Tuesday. He turns the frame, bright modern staples wink along the back. Fresh varnish stings the air. He never cleaned the old picture, Silas says. He swapped it. Your father's soot painting is in a skip somewhere. This one was painted this year. The £8 million masterpiece is a fake. Silas turns and looks straight at you. Every soul in this house had a reason to want that painting, he says. Its price made rich motives out of poor people. But only one of them had a reason to want Julian Harlowe silent. By 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. He counts them on gloved fingers. The ladder folded away, the fresh staples. The appraiser at 9. 4 suspects cleared, 1 face left at that table. You've seen everything I have. So, who killed Julian Harlowe? Then Silas kneels, one last time, and points at the dust. Here is the whole case in one quiet fact. Plaster dust falls first, then things fall into it. A man who dropped after the drilling would lie under that dust. But this dust lies on top of him, on the collar, on the shoulder, on the shoe, like snow on a fresh grave. Which means the hook was drilled after Julian was already on the floor. Vaughan swore he left at 10:15, with Julian alive. The dust says he lied. And only one man drilled that hook. Vaughan Ellery. The one man who seemed to need Julian alive, and the only one who needed him gone. Because the money was already dead, frozen estate or exposed fake, Vaughan was never seeing a penny. But an accident is not a crime scene. A grieving house doesn't call an appraiser at 9 the next morning. A dead executor cancels a 9 o'clock appointment and buys a forger a train out of the county before anyone thinks to check the back of a frame. He never planned to kill. But up on that ladder, Julian tilted the frame, saw the fresh staples, and understood. So Vaughan pushed him. And then, to sell the accident, he climbed back up and finished the job, hung his fake perfectly straight above the body and folded the ladder away. He just forgot which falls first, the dust or the man. And here is the cruelest part. The painting is worth nothing. A forgery, staples and solvent and all, an £8 million fortune that never existed. Not for a single second. This family circled each other like wolves. They accused each other. A man died. Over a canvas, worth less than its own frame. Thornfield is still just debt. The name still means nothing. The money seat was empty the whole time. It always is. Packing his ledger to leave, Silas does the small thing he always does. He pries a single brass tack from the fake's frame and pockets it. Then, out of habit, he lifts his loop and stops. Stamped into the head of that tack is a tiny monogram, and he has seen it before. Another estate, another miracle painting in another dying house, another body, at the foot of another stair. Vaughan couldn't have invented that mark. Someone supplied him the forgery. The forger is still out there, salting the great houses of England with masterpieces that kill. I value what the dead leave behind, Silas says, not quite to you. Lately, they keep leaving me the same signature. He tucks the tack into his ledger, the first piece of evidence against a ghost. This is the Appraiser, on the money seat, where money is the motive and every object is a confession. Follow and take the next empty chair. Come back. I'm not done counting.